What's up, ladies and gentlemen? I'm Pazi D with the Pazi Group Real Estate Advisors, and thank you for checking out our video blog. So today we're talking about the real estate market and why it's expected to crash in 2021. Or is it really? Let's talk about it. Alright, so like I said in the intro, we're talking about the real estate market and why people are worried that the market is going to crash and why I'm not. I don't believe it's looking like it's going to crash. We don't really have any indicators saying so, and I just want to share some information with you about it, share a couple slides with you, and just, chop it up a little bit. So here's the thing. When it comes to a market crash in 2021, a lot of stuff that you see out there is put out there by the media. They want to keep you entertained. They want to keep you coming back, keep you having something to talk about, with your friends and peers and stuff like that. But what we're going to do is just take a look at the main reasons why a lot of people are thinking, worrying, wondering whether or not the market is going to crash. And from what I gather, the main two reasons why people are worried that the market is going to crash is one, because of unemployment and everything that comes with that. So we'll talk about that. And number two is the fact that we are still coming out of this recession. And so I want to share a little bit of information about that. Here's the very first slide that I want to share with you. This one talks about the number of years that it takes for the unemployment rate to return to near pre-crisis levels. So if you look at that yellow line, that's the actual unemployment rate. You'll see that before the crisis, it was looking like about 3.5%. Then it dropped down to somewhere around 14.5%, and then it came back up. So you see it's like pretty sharp V. It went down and then it started coming right back up. And where we sit right now is about 6.7%. And now obviously that is not where we want to be. There's still millions of people out there looking for jobs that are having a hard time finding them. But you'll notice the red line, that shows us what happened in the Great Recession of 2006 to 2016. And basically that was a much longer period of time where we were experiencing that unemployment. Things went down and it took a while to come back. We're already on our way back up. And then if you look at the blue and the green lines, those share the Wall Street Journal survey of economists and the prediction of the Fed as to where unemployment rates are going. So I think this is really important because, when unemployment is high, it doesn't bring forth a lot of confidence. And what we're looking for is to give sellers confidence to be able to put more homes on the market, and that way we can balance things out a little bit more, and it'll be more like a normal real estate market. Right now, we're just not really having that. A lot of sellers are holding back. They're not really knowing what to do, and so they're not selling. And so what that ultimately does is creates the real crisis here, which is a lack of inventory. We'll get into that in a second. But for now, let's move on to the next slide. Unemployment projections. So you'll see where we sit currently at about 6.7%, and it's expected over the next few years to drop down to around that 3.7% unemployment. So ultimately what this really means is when you have a lot of unemployment, you have a lot of people that are unable to pay their bills. If you're unable to pay your bills, people look to forbearance, and then forbearance leads to foreclosure. Foreclosure leads to, say, an influx of foreclosures hitting the market, and that could topple the market, is I guess what people are wondering or worried about. But if we take a look at this study right here, this was a survey done in the fourth quarter of 2020, where the question that was asked was, for each of the following possible post-forbearance outcomes, what percentage of these 2.7 million homeowners do you estimate will? And these were the answers. 58% are going to resume their mortgage payments and stay in their home for at least another year. 24% are going to end up listing their homes for sale within about a year of exiting that forbearance. And then 18% are expected to receive a foreclosure notice and go through some sort of foreclosure proceedings. So if you look at this, the bigger slice of the pie, about 82% of the people out there are going to stay in their homes after forbearance. They're not expected to go into foreclosure or what have you, because the thing that a lot of people aren't talking about is the fact that about 32% of the people in forbearance are not even behind on their mortgage. A great amount of those people aren't even behind, but they're in that forbearance as a protection. Another thing to keep in mind that even when it comes to forbearance and foreclosure and things like that, we're in the middle of a moratorium. And a moratorium is basically where it's like a freeze on the ability for banks to foreclose on you. And so we've got that going on through the end of March. If the government extends it, then of course you got more time where you don't really have to worry so much about foreclosure and forbearance. Breaking news, President Biden just extended the foreclosure moratorium and mortgage forbearance through June. I was just saying in the video that it was going through March and now it just got extended through June. So hopefully that gives you a little bit more confidence that the market is not falling apart. Now back to our regularly scheduled program. The other thing that I want to share on the flip side of all of this is recessions, and recession history does not dictate that the market has to collapse. I think what happens is we automatically think back to 2008 where the market did in fact collapse. There were a lot of other factors at play that came into the equation and made things more complicated, and that is ultimately why the market collapsed. So now let's take a look at the past 6 recessions and what they did to home values and prices and whether, it caused the collapse in the market. So the next slide that we're gonna go into shows just that. All right, so here we are. We're looking at the home price change during the last 6 recessions. It shows you where the home price values basically went, whether it went up or whether it went down, and kind of help you understand what is potentially going to happen with the current recession that we're climbing out of. All right, so if you look back to last year, in 2020, we were in a recession, yet the home prices and home values went up by 7.3%. Versus when you look back to 2008, it went down almost 20%. And I think that's what has everybody just so nervous, is that they're expecting or wondering if the market is gonna collapse again, if home prices are gonna plummet and it'll put everything in just this crazy state. But we can see that the previous recessions just didn't do that. There was a 3% home price reduction back in the recession of 1991, but if you look at 2020, 2001, 1981, and 1980, all of those recessions, we had positive growth in home value. So again, I just want to make sure that you guys are informed. I don't want you to be, looking to your news media, your social media, and those sorts of things to get all of your information, because let's face it, their goal and their purpose is to, give you headlines, to give you things to click on. And my goal is to educate you. I want you to know what's going on out here for real, so that when you need to make a move, you're better equipped and better informed. So God bless you. If there's anything we can do to serve your real estate needs, it would be my pleasure. We look forward to helping you. We'll talk to you soon.